Hello everyone, we're back with the second Outbreak Survivor Facts video. Last month I brought back my 10 Awesome Facts segment and made the first new facts vid about Kevin Ryman. Sorry it took a while to get this next facts video out. I've been too occupied reviewing each god-awful episode of that RE Netflix show, and as mentioned before with my Kevin Ryman facts video, it takes forever to find facts for each survivor alone, and I know I could just pretend like I discovered these facts myself and simply use the Resident Evil Wikipedia page to collect easy facts for a quick video upload, but it's a lot more fun to discover them for yourself and a lot more interesting and satisfying as well. Plus, I don't like to rush any of my facts videos because I could end up getting things wrong without double checking them, like when I said baseball shoes instead of basketball shoes with the Kevin facts vid. But sadly, a few of these have been mentioned in the Resident Evil Wikipedia page, which I feel like I can't ignore because, I at least have to give my personal opinions about them, because they're just too good to not mention. But anyways, let's begin. Number 10. Cindy has a few hobbies that she mentions in her interactions and when collecting certain items. She loves the zoo animals, which was partially why she went to the Raccoon City Zoo. And she also loves the city mascot, Mr. Raccoon. She also loves to cook, and in Jay's bar, Cindy can search Will's body for a special item which is called Will's recipe. She will say, Will, the bar's cook, keeps his recipes a secret. I can't wait to try this one myself. But the best special item that only she can find is the herb pie recipe found behind the counter in the elephant restaurant of the zoo. When analyzed, it reads, heal your tired body and soul with this soothing natural herb pie recipe. Are you forgetting to add herb essence to your family's pies? Balanced nutrition and a clean bill of health are yours with these easy to make pies. It actually shows the necessary ingredients to create it yourself as well. How cool is that? If only the green and red herbs from Raccoon City actually existed, right? Then we'd actually have to try this out ourselves. The text for the Japanese translation is a bit different though. It reads, effective for physical and mental fatigue. How to make a special herb pie. Pie in the home? Why not to add herb essence? Nourishing and fatigue recovery. Various effects that will make you happy. But the weird part is that the ingredients though, they're not the same. For example, for the Japanese text, it says that you need to use 1 ounce of red and green herb powder. But in the translation version, it says you need 15 grams of green and red herb powder, which is 28 grams. So one of these ingredients recipes is wrong. I wonder which. There's also a herb tea that only she can find. She'll say, an instant tea bag made with a blend of many herbs. This would be great for relaxation. It's possible that this could be referring to the red, blue, and green herbs of the Arklay Mountains, so that'd be neat. Number 9. Cindy is known to be the most popular waitress at Jay's bar. They mention that it's due to her irresistibly bright smile and positive attitude. But she does not plan on being a waitress for long, as her main goal is to become a nurse, which is why she carries a herb case and a bandage for medical use. As part of her specialty, she's able to carry 3 of each herb, including a 4th slot for combined herbs. So she can be very useful for carrying a large number of recovery herbs for her partners. By standing next to a partner, you can select a herb and select the aid command to heal your partners. And if Cindy is one of your AI partners, she will also occasionally heal your condition if you stand next to her or you make your character scream out for help. So thanks to her, I've been able to live through tough situations where a boss type of enemy was clobbering me and Cindy came to the rescue by healing me quickly right when I was like 1 shot away from dying. But healing isn't the only thing she'll do, because even though she's not a fighter, she will rise to the occasion and rally up the courage to take a stand, grab a weapon, and fight by your side, making her one of, or if anything, the best AI partner to have by your side. Number 8. Every main survivor has a set amount of costumes that best represent their unique styles and attire that they wear outside of their jobs. However, Cindy has one special costume that does not represent her at all, and that is the Funny Bunny costume. It's basically fan service for the players of the game, but it does have a point of being included, as the owner of Jay's bar was planning on making the waitresses start wearing them to attract more customers. When it comes to finding the special items that unlock the Funny Bunny costume, Cindy will say the same response for each item that she finds related to this costume. She mentions that the bar owner is a perv for wanting his waitresses to start wearing it, and shows a lot of disapproval over his actions. In fact, when she enters the liquor room of Jay's bar, she's the only one that can find a hiding place memo, and she'll say, "This memo tells where Jack's been hiding money he's embezzled from the bar. The rat." And if she finds the title certificate for the bar in the owner's room, she'll say, "This is the title deed to Jack's. Don't worry, I'm not planning a hostile takeover or anything. ... Now, one thing to note about unlocking her Funny Bunny costume is that this is the only costume that requires you to find 7 special items for Cindy, which is definitely a lot compared to the others. Cindy is also a very religious girl who cares about others more over herself, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't care about her personal self-care, as she will mention this when finding lots of special items such as hand cream for her beauty care. But there are more examples of her being highly religious that she'll mention God in many occasions throughout her struggles. And if she picks up the sexy lipstick at the hive scenario in the nurses' center of the hospital, she'll say, "Oh, I could never wear this. What would they think of me at church?" Number 7. When it comes to the main female characters of the Outbreak games, they actually get an additional 4th costume to unlock for them. And in Cindy's case, it's the Coquette costume. But you don't need to go around looking for specific special items in every scenario. Instead, you just have to complete the minigame known as Showdown 2. That is, after you've unlocked the first Showdown mode. But it ain't over yet, cause like with every unlocked item in the collection menu, you need to buy it as well. And sadly, this is one of the most expensive items to purchase. Purchasing characters and costumes usually go around 3,000 to 5,000 points, but Cindy's Coquette costume goes for up to 30,000 points. Crazy, huh? Another side note about unlocking this costume is that many websites, including the actual strategy guide for the game, say that you unlock this costume by completing the Elimination 2 mode. But that's incorrect since I unlocked it by beating the Showdown 2 mode. So I guess a lot of people didn't bother trying to unlock it themselves and just took the online word for it, as well as the strategy guide. Number 6. In the Hive scenario, which takes place in the Raccoon City Hospital, there's an injured police officer on the rooftop of the building. You can interact with him before he succumbs to his injuries, but if you're playing as Cindy or Kevin, he'll give you a weapon. If you're playing on the easy or normal difficulty, he'll give you a submachine gun, which is awesome, but on the hard and very hard difficulty mode, he'll give you a burst handgun. I know I mentioned this already last year when I made the deep analysis review of the Hive scenario, but I also wanted to mention the dialogue that comes with Cindy when she interacts with him. The officer will say, Maggie, so you've come to pick me up. I'm a goner. Take this with you. Maggie, please, forgive me. Please, take good care of Rachel." From the hundreds of playthroughs I've had with the Outbreak games, I haven't run into either characters by the name of Maggie or Rachel. But it's quite sad that this officer had a family that he could not see before he died from his injuries, which might have been caused by the infected crows we see at the rooftop. Number 5. It's mentioned online that Cindy had feelings for her coworker Will the bartender, but there's actually no real proof of that. If you stand close to him when he's injured, she doesn't show any concern for him, and these characters can always have unique interactions with specific characters, including NPCs. But this doesn't happen with Cindy and Will. She will, however, mention how she noticed that he suddenly turned into a zombie, and in the second game, at random, I heard her once mention, well, in the ad-libs she mentioned, "I'm sorry, Will." But that's about it. Number 4. The Wild Things scenario is one of Cindy's canonical scenarios that she goes through, and there are many survivors hiding throughout the Raccoon City Zoo. So if you're playing as Cindy, she has countless unique interactions with each of them. This survivor at the inner office will usually say, "Wow, a survivor? The animals got to me. You can see the result. I thought it would be safe, but we're stuck in here. Communications are cut. Shit." But when Cindy meets him, she'll ask, "Are you alright, sir?" He'll reply, "Boss, is that you? Sorry, you startled me." She'll say, "You startled me too. Would you like to come along? After this, He won't want to respond until you turn on the power. But once you do that, Cindy will say, "The power's working." He'll confirm that it is and say that things should work now. Then there's Austin the hunter at the observation deck. If you interact with him, he'll say, "You've made it this far, huh? It's a jungle out there." "I'm Austin. I work as a hunter here at the observation deck." Cindy will say, "Things have gotten crazy outside." He'll reply, "I'm glad to see you're okay. My buddy's lost out there. I've lost contact with him." She would ask, "Were you with someone else?" And he'll say, "Take a good look. It's just me. If you run into anyone out there, tell them I'm alive." Cindy will then ask, "Why did this happen?" Which he'll reply, "That's just what I'd like to know." Her last question is, "What will you do now?" To which he'll say, "I suppose I'll stick around here." Then there's Patrick at the elephant stage. Since he's injured, he'll say to her, "I can't handle any more of this. I don't want to die, yo." I've mentioned what he says as normal dialogue before and after you speak with Austin, and if you want to know more about this character and that interaction, be sure to check out the video I made on Patrick the Zookeeper from the Outbreak series. Number 3. If you've seen my deep analysis review of the 5th scenario in the first Outbreak game called Decisions, then you likely already know about her bad ending where she stays behind with George as they're both infected and do not escape Raccoon City, but instead, they stay by each other's side and watch as the entire city is about to get nuked. It's a beautiful yet tragic ending and probably one of the most impactful cutscenes to witness in the entire Resident Evil series. And it kind of gives us a little insight on both Cindy and George, because it appears that they have a close relationship with one another. George worked at the hospital helping others, and Cindy would work on becoming a nurse, so they likely had a lot in common, which got them to become quite close to each other. But aside from their bad ending in the first game, Cindy can appear as a 4th AI character in the Wild Things scenario, which takes place at the Raccoon City Zoo. And like with every 4th main survivor that appears in a scenario, she gets killed around the beginning of that scenario. If you search near her body, you'll find the admission ticket for the zoo, which reads, "A special zoo ticket allowing for a family discount." It's already been torn in two. Number 2. Here's a special interaction between Cindy and Kevin that takes place at the very end of the final scenario of the second Outbreak game. By selecting Kevin and only having Cindy as your partner, protect her to get through the entire scenario together. Reach the freeway area where you take on the terrifying Nyx mutant boss, defeat it, and talk to Cindy afterwards. He'll ask her, "What will you do when this is over?" She'll ask, "What do you mean?" He replies, "Can't go back to the bar, right?" She'll say, "I haven't really thought about it." And he'll respond, "Yeah, I guess you wouldn't have." Then she'll ask him, "How about you?" Kevin replies, "I'll still be a cop. Raccoon can change all it wants. Deep down, I'll still be a cop. But I can't believe this shit. Probably not smart to work alone." I'd say this tells us that after Kevin escaped the Raccoon City incident, he continued his work as a cop in another region. And if possible, he would likely have joined an even higher and more respected team than the STARS team after becoming one of the only few surviving officers of Raccoon City. Number 1. In Cindy's special ending from the first Outbreak game, she escapes the Raccoon University in a helicopter with an injured firefighter. She mentions that she's out of a job, followed by quickly tending to the firefighter's injury, to which she then mentions that there are other things she can do instead. This would likely mean that Cindy was going to become like a nurse to continue helping others as her new career. Then, in her special ending of the second Outbreak game, she gets a new house and says to someone that they should come by. It isn't said as to who she was talking about, but my guess is that it could be either Kevin or George, since they were the closest friends she had. Makes you wonder if she was finally compensated for what happened at her previous home in Raccoon City. And it looks like we won't be seeing Cindy back anytime soon. But that's probably for the best, since this feels like her true ending, and it was a pleasant conclusion for the survivor with the brightest smile overall. So those were the awesome facts I found on Cindy Lennox. Next time we'll be taking a look at Mark Wilkins, followed up by the remaining Outbreak survivors and more. So look forward to those facts videos pretty soon. that's it for the video. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and if you truly enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content from this jabroni. I cover lore videos, facts, movies, and game reviews, all based on my favorite franchises such as Resident Evil, The King of Fighters, Mortal Kombat, Celebrity Deathmatch, The Mask, Dragon Ball, The Terminator, TMNT, and more. I'd like to give a very special thanks to all my Patreon supporters. This video is for you, and I hope you like seeing your name at the end credits of this video. And if you too would like to see your name at the end of a new vid, be sure to join my Patreon, where you also get to receive exclusive videos and updates such as new art panels for my Resident Evil Outbreak comic that I'm working on. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.